Hello, my name is Les Albert. I'm with the Office of State Fire Marshal. Today we're going to explore the top 5 most common issues that could prevent you from getting a small equipment grant from our office. Those 5 areas are NFIRS reporting, equipment identification, in other words, Tier 1 versus Tier 2 equipment, signatures that are needed on the application, budget information, and equipment justification. We're going to explore these issues more in depth, but here's Greg Hay, the Office State Fire Marshal Fire Service Outreach Coordinator, to explain more about the NFIRS program and things to look out for.
Thanks, Les. Hello, everyone. I'm Greg Hay, and I'm the NFIRS State Program Manager. To be eligible for the small equipment grant, fire departments must be compliant with NFIRS reporting for a period of 2 years. Due to the recent update of the NFIRS system, we have set the 2-year period as July 1st of 2018 to June 30th of 2020. For NFIRS reporting, there are 3 main issues that fire departments should watch for. The first one applies only to departments that use a third-party software such as Firehouse or ImageTrend, etc. is failed imports. At some point, most departments that use a third-party software have experienced an import failure for one reason or another. Understand that no third-party software can determine if their reports have actually been imported or not. It can only show if they've exported the file which they intended to import. A failed import may cause an entire month to be missing, or there may only be a few reports present that were possibly imported on the following import the next month. If your department averages 100 calls per month and then you have 1 month with only 5 reports showing, such a major variation is a clear indication that reports are missing and you would then be considered non-compliant. Because of this, it is vital that you compare the monthly totals on our NFIRS compliance report, which is posted on the grants web page, to your records. This report will be updated regularly throughout the application period. I also send out monthly compliance emails. If you're not on my distribution list and you would like to be, please contact our NFIRS help desk at sfm.infirshelp@illinois.gov. The ongoing unavailability of the bulk import system is scheduled to be corrected by Thanksgiving, which will give you plenty of time before the application closing date to catch up with any missing reports. Once the BIU is fully available, we'll do everything we can to help you get your reports imported. The next thing I want to discuss are no activity reports. If your department will occasionally experience a month in which you do not respond to any incidents, you must submit a no activity report. Doing this is very quick and easy. Simply open a new report, enter the last date of that month as your incident date, enter all zeros as your incident number, check the no activity box, and then click save. Now, unfortunately, I do have to mention that I also watch for abuse of the no activity report used in lieu of submitting reports. Now, the last thing I want to touch on is that only valid reports count towards compliance. This likely won't affect departments with larger call volumes, but if a department typically only has 2 or 3 reports for the month and they happen to all be invalid, my report will show 0 reports for that month. So if this applies to your department, be sure to go into the NFIRS reporting application and correct any invalid reports, which everyone should be doing anyway. So if you have any questions, need assistance, please contact us at our NFIRS help desk address. We will do everything within our power to assist you with meeting your NFIRS compliance. Thank you and good luck.
Thanks, Greg. Now let's cover the sections in the application. Section 1, the application information, or applicant information here. It's very important to give us your FDID number here and the tax identification number. If you don't know what that is, contact the secretary or clerk of the municipality or fire protection district. Very important, in the middle of that area, has this applicant existed under a different name or merged with another company? And if yes, please put that down. What this would apply to is fire departments might join a fire protection district. If you've done that, you need to apply under the fire protection district, not under the individual's old fire department's name. You need to use the new fire protection district's FDID number and make sure that this application is signed by the chief of the fire protection district and by the board of trustees. You cannot apply if you're part of a district as an individual fire department. And have you received previous grants under this program? And if yes, please give us the years that you received a grant. Under contact information, very important that we have a name of an individual that we can contact if we have questions or need more information for. That would be give us a good email address and a good cell number and or a number that we can reach an individual during the daytime. In Section 3, the request. The requested amount. We will not give out more than $26,000 for this grant. Okay, the description of the requested equipment. Again, what do you want? What and why, okay, is what we're going to be looking at in the next several areas. So give us this description of the requested equipment. Now here it's very important to identify Tier 1 equipment versus Tier 2 equipment. Tier 1 equipment is going to get a higher priority over Tier 2 equipment. Tier 1 equipment would be firefighter safety equipment, example SCBA and PPE. It would be auto extrication equipment and EMS equipment. Tier 2 equipment would be equipment that goes on fire apparatus, fire station equipment, and specialized rescue equipment. So Tier 1, again, will get a higher priority than Tier 2. Cost of requesting equipment. Give us the items, the number of items, and unit cost. Don't inflate this. The committee has a pretty good idea of what this equipment should cost. If you inflate this and you receive the grant and you don't use all that money, you might be taking away from a department that does need the money for equipment. And how was this cost of equipment determined? Was it a vendor's quote? Did you go online? How did you come up with that dollar amount? And does this standard meet an NFPA standard? And if so, what's the latest addition to that? If it doesn't meet a standard, just put NA in there. Section 4, demographic information. Here we want to identify the number of firefighters that you have, number that are full-time versus volunteer, and EMS staff. What are full-time and volunteers? Now, please, if you're an ambulance service, if your staff is not volunteers, if you pay for them, you do not qualify for this grant. Only volunteer ambulance services. Give us the number of annual responses. Again, don't inflate this because we can check this with your NFIRS. Give us an estimate of the population covered in square miles. How many locations do you have? In other words, fire stations or ambulance houses. Are you a member of MABUS? And if so, what division? And if you're not, do you still have mutual aid agreements with other fire protection districts or municipalities? And down farther, do you serve any other local governments outside your primary area of response? And that could be examples of forestry services, whether it's a county, state, or even federal government refuges. And demographic narratives. Discuss your most recent demographic trends. In other words, has your population gone up or down? Your number of responses gone up? Service area, has that increased because of factories or warehouses been built or shut down? New highways came through your area. Give us a reason to look at, identify why you need this equipment through maybe demographics. Section 5, grant justification. Here we're looking at the detailed reasons that you're requesting the grant under this program. This is very important because the committee looks at this, and this is a big score of your evaluation, if you would. The first area is information of the out-of-date equipment or unsafe equipment. Here, if you have PPE or SCBA, the bottles are expiring, whatever it might be, put that down, give us a reason. Or if you have extrication equipment that's failed or unsafe, identify that. Don't shortchange us on these areas in this section. It's very, very important. The next area is information of current demand of services provided in the last 2 years. If you're running more calls, put that down. If you're running more extrication calls because maybe your highway's gone from a 2-lane to 4-lane, you're running more extrication calls, put that down. If you've had nursing homes or shelter or assisted living homes come into your area, identify that if those are increasing a demand on the number of calls and runs on your equipment. The next area would be information on equipment losses not covered by insurance. If you had equipment lost in a fire or damaged on a call and it's not covered by your insurance, let us know. If it doesn't apply to you, just put NA in this section. Please don't leave any of these sections blank, okay? Information on all monetary or in-kind grants received in the previous 3 years. Please include the dollar amount, the source, and the purpose of the grant. In other words, what did you purchase with this grant? If it doesn't apply to you in this area, please put NA. But include all grants like AFG grants or IDNR grants, any grants that you receive that you use for your ambulance service or fire service. And the last area is other justification. If you don't want to put anything down in this area, please put it in NA and identify that. But other justification might be this assists with firefighter safety or recruitment and retention. It helps us run mutual aid agreements with other departments that don't have this equipment. Whatever justification that you feel that you need, please put that down for the committee to review. Section 6, tax information. If it doesn't apply to you, please just put NA off to the side. But if you're a fire protection district, what's your maximum level, tax level, current level rate, and maximum levy rate? And give us the years there for the last 3 years, what those assessed evaluations are and revenue collected and percentage collected. This next area is very important also. It's budget information. Give us the most recent annual operating budget. Please do not include personnel expenses, capital expenses, or what we call fixed expenses. In other words, expenses that you have no control over. And those might be utility payments, insurance, vehicle maintenance and fuel, rent or payment on fire stations or ground. Please identify those. What we really want to see is what we call variable expenses. In other words, expenses in line items that you have control over, such as small equipment, training, any upgrades, those types of things. Please don't send us your full city or municipality's budget, or if you're a fire protection district. Again, we really want to see your variable expenses. What money do you have control over that you can spend? Okay? And that would be for the last 2 years. Okay, very important. Variable expenses, equipment up and upgrades, training, equipment or money that you have that you can use. Line items in your budget that you have really control over. Section 8, very important here, signatures. The application must be signed by the fire chief or the head of the not-for-profit ambulance service. And the following example would be president and secretary of the board of trustees, or the mayor, city manager, or clerk, or the highest elected official of that local unit of government. This is very important because we want to make sure that the officials above the fire service know that you've applied for this grant and are getting this grant. So again, make sure that you reach out and get those signatures above the fire officer that fills this out and above the fire chief of that organization. If you need additional information or have questions, I'd like to introduce Roger Branson. He's the individual that you'll run those questions by, and he's the individual that goes through these applications to make sure everything's met. Roger?
Hi everyone, my name is Roger Branson. I work here at the Office of the State Fire Marshal and Special Projects. I am the one that typically fields the questions for the small equipment grant. We're happy to help you in any way possible. If you feel a need to reach out, my number is 217-785-4717, or you can also reach me by email at roger.d.branson@illinois.gov. Thank you and good luck on the application process.
Hopefully you found this video helpful when you fill out your application for the small equipment grant. If you have any additional questions or need additional information, please reach out to our office. You can either do that by a phone call or by email. We thank you for your time.